It's The Music Show. I'm Andrew Ford. On the show.
Is your mother worried? Would you like us to assign someone to worry your mother? Excuse me.
What?
Excuse me.
What?
Hey, you in the front row, are you coming backstage after the show? Because I've got a Chaise Longue in my dressing room and a pack of warm beer that we can consume.
What you're hearing now, though, is the debut single from the British band Wet Leg. It was released just over a year ago, and since then, Chaise Longue has been everywhere, and everyone seems to be talking about Wet Leg. Rhian Teasdale and Hester Chambers come from the Isle of Wight. They've just put out their debut album, and they're in Australia to play at Byron Bay's Splendour in the Grass, as well as a handful of side shows, including For Us. Rhian and Hester join me, along with Josh Mubaraki, who plays guitar in their band. And before they talk about music, they're going to play a song for us. This is Wet Dream.
2, 3, 4. Let's begin.
Here we go, here we go, here we go,
Here we go.
here we go, here we go, here we go. I was in your wet dream, driving in my car. Saw you at the side of the road, there's no one else around. You're touching yourself, touching yourself, touching yourself, touching yourself. You said, baby, do you want to come home with me? I got Buffalo 66 on DVD. You said,
Baby, do you want to come home with me? I got Buffalo 66 on DVD.
beat me up, count me in,
Count me in.
3, 2, 1,
3, 2, 1.
let's begin. Here we go,
Here we go.
here we go,
Here we
here we
go.
go, here we go, here we go. I was in your wet dream, driving in my car. What makes you think you're good enough to think about me when you're touching yourself, touching yourself, touching yourself, touching yourself? You climb onto the bonnet, now you're licking the windscreen. I've never seen anything so obscene. It's enough to make a girl blush. It's enough to make a girl blush. It's enough, 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 it's enough. Beat me up, count me in,
Count me in.
3, 2, 1,
3, 2, 1.
let's begin. Here we go,
Here we go.
here we go,
Here we go.
here we go, here we go, here we go.
Thank you very much. That was Wet Leg in the Music Show studio, and that was Wet Dream. And Wet Leg consists today of Rhian Teasdale, lead vocals, Hester Chambers, who was also singing and playing guitar and doing a bit of singing, also Josh Mubaraki. Thank you. You've had something of a roller coaster year, I think it's fair to say. I was watching footage of you on stage at Glastonbury the other day doing, call and response with this huge audience on Chaise Longue, and it's only really a year since that, which was your first single, came out. So how have you been coping with all of this?
We haven't.
Yeah, it's been pretty wild, but the thing is with being on a roller coaster, once someone puts the bar down, you just kind of have to go with it. There's no getting out.
Yes. Do you scream at all when you come down?
Yeah, we make lots of time for regular screaming.
I mean, you didn't come from nowhere. It sort of suggests that, there was this record a year ago and now you're huge. But you put in quite a lot of work before you did that. Maybe we could go back to the Isle of Wight, which the world knows in musical terms because of the famous festival, but the really famous one was half a century ago. What's it like now? Is there a music scene on the Isle of Wight?
There is a music scene. It's quite DIY. There's a lot of creative people there, and I think now more than ever there's like so many different types of music being made. But where it's not really a destination on touring circuits for, like, in quotations, bigger bands, I think that's why it's, more of like a DIY scene. There is the festival, still happens, the Isle of Wight Festival, but it's quite different to 1969, as you can imagine. But yeah, it's quite a musical place, I feel, even though it's one of those harder to reach places.
Yes, and interesting things have come from the Isle of Wight. There was that amazing photographer. What was her name in 19th century? Julia Margaret Cameron. Yeah. Yes. So it's a place of creativity. You went to college there, and you both did music, and you dropped out. I'm interested in this. So you obviously knew you were, or thought you might be, musicians, or you wouldn't have been doing the course in the first place. What made you stop doing it?
I think for me, I found it really hard to find the motivation to do a course where it's probably not going to be a stepping stone to the thing that I want to do. Like, when you go to university and you're studying medicine or law, like, it's the obvious route, it's the only route. Whereas, like, I think, I just wasn't really enjoying it. And so if it's not going to get me, like, if it's not the route to employment and I'm not enjoying it, then why am I there?
Although I don't imagine the people who study law enjoy it all the time.
No, but that's it. They don't have to enjoy it because it's the route to their career. So either you do something that isn't going to get you a job, but you're enjoying the course anyway, so you've got that like serendipity. But if you don't have one or the other, it's...
So did you find it was stifling your creativity?
It's a lot of coursework involved.
Yeah.
I just over the years realised I just wasn't very academic and like couldn't find the piece of myself that would get the most out of the course, and it's like £9,000 a year. It's like it wasn't gonna.
Yes, that concentrates the mind a bit, doesn't it? Yeah. £9,000 a year. When did you start writing songs together?
On the Ferris wheel in 2018 at End of the Road Festival. We did that thing that you kind of do when you're children, and you're like, I'm going to write a song, and you're like, you sing all the parts. You're like, da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
And you couldn't get off the Ferris wheel until you'd finished it. Is there a significance to the Ferris wheel?
In a way, yeah. It was at End of the Road Festival, which is like one of like our favorite festivals, and we just finished seeing Idols, and we were quite intoxicated, and so like I don't know, like it's quite a vivid memory of like the emotion and like feeling inspired by a whole summer of going to these festivals, seeing people having like a rad time and just being like, this is really fun. Like, we don't have to stop doing music, even though we're at this point in our lives where we've got like jobs that are paying bills, and yeah, I think it felt like
it's a cool memory.
Yeah.
Can we talk about style? Because the style of Wet Leg is quite distinctive. Although it's really, I know people all try and say what it reminds them of, and everybody comes up with something completely different, which has to be a good thing. But what it's not like particularly is Rain, which was your previous incarnation, Rian. So it suggests that you've actually found something with Hester. and that you maybe know what it is. How conscious is the style?
I think the style is we never really think about it. We never really know what's going to come out. But I think, when we started Wet Leg, for me, I was like, I am really not enjoying playing solo. I'm not enjoying the gigs. I'm not enjoying performing the songs that I have made. So why don't we try and make some songs that are going to be fun and a bit silly to play? So in that sense, it was that was a conscious decision. But in terms of genre, there's no I wouldn't really say we stick to one thing.
And when you came up with Chaise Longue, did you know that had to be the starting point? That had to be the first single?
Well, we didn't really write Chaise Longue for Wet Leg. That was me, Hester, and Joshua. We were all I was staying at you guys' flat for a very long period of time, accidentally. I said, can I stay for a couple nights? And they were like, yeah, sure. And then I ended up staying 6 weeks, and we used to just stay up really late at night and have silly jams.
Joshua tells a story really nicely of the song, actually.
Yeah, go on, Joshua.
Okay. It was a long night. No. Rianne, I think for that whole period, we were making up silly tunes and silly rhymes. Not songs, just rhymes. And Rianne has this ability to write these... not even write, just say them, almost freestyle these rhymes. And one of them that came out was Chaise Longue, and we were that, we didn't think, oh, that's really good. That's not what we thought. We didn't think, oh wow, you've struck gold. But we were just we're gonna have to that's come out as I think that feels like something. Let's just put it in. Not oh yeah, that really feels like something. But just as in, I don't know, make sure that we record that. Don't lose that. There's something really funny about that. And it was never, like you say, it wasn't a Wet Leg song. We were just having fun. And so when we did that, Hester was we recorded it in. Hester was can you put the Yams drums on it, which is the preset drums you get from a small Yamaha keyboard, these yeah. And I was okay, I'm just going to make it sound like that because I can't be bothered to get everything out and plug it all in. So I'm just going to make it sound like that. And then I've got this thing called a pocket piano, and it's got some quite obnoxious sounds on it. So I made this really obnoxious da 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 da. And then it was I don't know, a minute long or something like that. And we were wow, that's funny, isn't it? And then we just put it to bed and didn't really think about it. And then got up the next day and was listen back to it, I think
it was 7 minutes long, actually.
Is it 7?
Yeah.
Oh, because I did
it goes on
solo.
Way
Not
too
solo.
long. It's
yeah, and it's on the B side of the Chaise Longue vinyl. And I was when they said, oh, could you send over that thing? Oh, it's called a demo, but it's not a demo. It's just it's a voice note.
It's a joke.
Yeah, it's a joke. And I was I would cut it out, but it's just funnier to leave it in because it's so obnoxious and dumb and. Yeah.
Yeah, no way could you cut it out.
And then we were wouldn't it be funny if we tried it in the rehearsal room? But it's an odd idea to translate to a band, and I really didn't think it was going to work. And I was looking at Henry, who plays drums, and I was Henry, I don't know how you're going to do this, man, but this drum beat is really silly. It's really not. But just have a go at it. And he just did it, miraculously, metronomic, absolutely on the beat completely.
Foot.
Yeah, that beautiful foot, Iggy Pop said. And yeah, and then it was oh, this is actually kind of cool. And I remember going it's oh, there's got to be a chorus of the song, which is probably going to be on the Chaise Longue bit. What chords should we play? And then one of us was I think it was several of us at the same time were just let's just play G. We're yeah, just play G. And she was oh, I don't really like the way it sounds there, so we're going to play it up like that. And we're oh, is it a song?
Yeah, it's pretty crass.
And then John McMullen helped us piece the structure together.
No, we had it ready.
Did we?
Yeah. We worked out the structure in the rehearsal room. Our friend John McMullen, also from the Isle of Wight, who offered to record us for free. So I think it worked out.
And did you know what you'd got then?
I think it was when the like music video was happening.
Yeah.
I think when it was like, oh, got like this feels, yeah, just like watching it back with like that visual of you guys.
But still, I think we were just like, wow, we can't wait to share this on like our Instagram so that our friends will think we're really cool. Like we didn't think that we were going to do anything with it.
But you knew it was cool.
We thought it was like, yeah, it was a
brought
thing.
us a lot of joy.
Yeah.
On today's music show, I'm talking with Wet Leg, or at least three of them, Rian Teasdale, Hester Chambers, and Joshua Mobaraki. And I wanted to ask you about the videos, actually, because the videos are wonderful things in their own right. And I'm not sure that you would necessarily go to them for an explanation of what the song was about, but they somehow fit together. Do you spend a lot of time on these? Do they come after the songs?
Yeah, they do come after the songs. We'd never made a music video before, or even like I'd never really thought to. But Hester is pretty handy with the camera, and I used to do like wardrobe assistant stuff, so I've got like an interest in costume. And so I guess like with our videos, a lot of the time the concept does kind of start with like what we're wearing and creating characters from that, and then that's kind of like you're like building a world around that. And we're very lucky to live on the Isle of Wight. So we just kind of like used what we had around us, or like what was available to us.
Yeah.
And it's all kind of, we don't really put too much thought into like what's going to happen. I think it's more like the focus with like Chaise Longue and Wet Dream was just to like create a world.
Yeah, each of the songs does that, doesn't it? It has a sense of being its own little world, its sort of little microcosm.
Yeah.
And yet the songs tend to be about teenagers and students, and parents turn up a lot in the songs, mothers especially.
Yeah, I've got some parental issues. No, I think it probably just comes from the dropping out of uni. It feels like the worst thing in the world when it's happening and you feel like such a failure.
So this is your therapy.
Yeah. They're okay with me now, the parents.
I'm sure they're very proud of you. I believe you've got a second album, sort of waiting in the wings. I mean, it could have gone either way, couldn't it? This amazing success you've had, you could have found it hugely inspiring or constipating, but I guess it's been inspiring.
No, my dude. We haven't got the second album. We haven't had any time to write, and we were just. It was a big joke. Yeah,
it was in one interview.
It was a big joke, and it kind of.
Now it's out there.
Yeah.
And now the pressure's really on.
Well, no.
You'll get what you're given when you're given.
Well, I'd like you to give us another song.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
Being it, you're going to do.
Yeah, let's do another song.
I need the light down, only just got up. I feel so uninspired, I feel like giving up. I feel like someone has punched me in the gut. Kinda like it, cause it feels like being in love. Being in love. Being in love. Being in love. I lost my appetite, I cannot sleep at night, I cannot concentrate, I do not feel too great. I think I lost myself, I think I lost myself. Kinda like it, cause it feels like being in love. Being in love. Being in love. Being in la 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 just medicate for me another drink. Don't wanna have to think. I think I lost my shit. Some kind of fucked up trip. Kinda like it, cause it feels like being in love. Being in love. Being in love.
That's Being in Love, Wet Leg, live on The Music Show. We were joined by Rhian Teasdale on vocals, Hester Chambers on guitar and vocals, and Josh Mobaraki on guitar and a few vocals too. They're here in Australia till the 25th of July, playing their own headline shows in Sydney and Melbourne, and as I mentioned earlier, Splendour in the Grass at Byron Bay, and you can find details on The Music Show's website. And they'll be back early next year, along with Harry Styles, who's touring around the country.